Okay, so they cut me off as I'm saying I'm attracted to men, period. White men, black men, Asian men, a whole lot of different types of men, mixed men, not mixed men. So they said today when I saw a man in McDonald's, he came and he asked me a question. I kind of did that double take because I saw an attractive man. What's wrong with that? That's another criticism. What's wrong with being able to recognize someone who is attractive? So they keep going over, this idea. And I think what is so important about this is that they keep going over the idea that this would be a black person versus a black person issue. It really isn't. There are people who have this technology and they're not black. This is technology that comes from countries. Black people don't, for the most part, in America, in the Americas, meaning North, Central, and South America, have countries, unfortunately. So you mean to tell me you're going to lie and say that this could be coming from a completely different country than the ones that we know? And if that were happening, it would be allowed? No. So they just said something along the lines as one part of this will be coming from people who may have known me. They acknowledged that they said something big with Kojak. I think it ran from like 73 or something like that until 78. So they said when I was a little girl, I must have been very young. I thought Kojak was black, Telly Savalas. And it's funny because I watched the repeats and I included it in some of the posts. And he's very tan. And I think at one point he acknowledges that he's Greek. So when they're talking about, well, you know, when they're talking about these types of things, they're talking about it like a Greek person wouldn't look dark or a Greek person wouldn't look like he could be some other race. If I were a little girl and I thought he was black, because I don't know if I did or not, I could see how I would think a dark Greek person would look like them mixed with black. Do I think they could be? Yes, because there was a lot of interaction between Africa and Greece, just like in Italy. Is that like earth shattering? No. Why would that even be a big deal? So they said that's how I am. Like that's my personality. Like who cares? Like why is that a big deal? Yes, it is. And when you're talking about that and they want to make it seem like that would be a turnoff for some people. Without me opening my mouth, it would be a turnoff with people for some people. With me opening my mouth, it would be a turnoff for some people. But there will also be a lot of other people who will say, "Yeah, I can see how Greek people and African people were interacting for centuries, and yeah, they could be mixed." And Telly Savalas was gorgeous in my eyes, at least, even when I was a kid. And I would think he was a black man. Who cares? But again, while we're talking about this, it makes no sense to me why this would even be an issue. But they would find a way to twist it into an issue. So as I'm going over a lot of the things that they twisted, they were hoping that this would make me look bad or that make me look bad. But if I'm a little kid and I find Telly Savalas attractive, I clearly wasn't a lesbian. Not that there's a problem with being a lesbian, but I clearly wasn't. They even acknowledged growing up, I like boys, I like men. I found them attractive. What difference does it make? Since when are we now going to get into people's sexuality? You notice how when it's their sexuality, oh, we can't talk about it. My sexuality, blah, 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 blah. And that's my point. They want me to be ashamed of being attracted to men. Why should I be? I think this is kind of anti-heterosexuality. It's true. Where some people think that you can bash a woman who likes men, but would you have the audacity to have bashed me the same way if I didn't like men? No. So I think there's a problem with female sexuality. Okay, so the next point about this is that if we're going to start criticizing people and it's okay because it's out loud, you're hypocrites. You can't expect people not to bash you the same way. Oh, but that's wrong. You can't bash that person. Well, then you're a hypocrite. You're not you're not the good people that you claim to be. You're hiding behind morality, but you have absolutely no morals. Going back to this whole condition, we already know any exposure to microwaves creates a health hazard. It creates mental illness. It creates illnesses, period. So since when is focusing on how I order a frappe at McDonald's more important than the medical issues you've caused? So they said, well, I didn't win anything. It wasn't about winning, it was about exposing. And you didn't win either. The fact that you allowed yourself to be exposed because you're greedy is worse than me exposing you because you're greedy. So part of this whole criticism is to prove that, and they even acknowledge, I've had letters from these people saying I'm a good person, but once I didn't go along with it, then I'm a horrible person. Well, that's greed. If you had just left me out of it, this never would have happened. But they couldn't leave me out of it because I found out about it. And I will not go along with it. I don't believe that walking around behind people and videotaping them, like I could be looking at something, I'm not even reading, and they'll start reading what I'm looking at. They think I'm going to be impressed. It doesn't impress me at all. They also said, oh, I was critical. I've done this in various videos that I've been critical of women. So since when can I not be critical of any other human being? I'm learning from them. Oh, but that's not, that's my point. Oh, but that's not right. Then why are you doing it if it's not right? If I copy their behavior, then I've learned it from them. Thank you for watching.